When I found you, I saw raw, untamed power. And beyond that, something truly special.
It seems like the biggest challenge in this franchise is to appeal to people like me who are, grew up on Star Wars. They're like, it's really embedded in their personality. While on the other hand, like to go to the kids, with all the fun and jokes and all that. So from your point of view, how did it all work up, like during the production and also in the final result?
The thing about great sci-fi, as you know, and Star Wars in particular, is that it is based on myth and it's based on classic storytelling and storytelling that is contemporary and zeitgeist. Although it's science fiction, it says a lot about the human condition. And Ryan didn't shy away from that at all in this movie. So while there's great humour and great action and there's a lot of emotion in it, there is a politics in this movie.
Sir, the villagers.
There's much more like political backstabbing. And in a way, it's like it reminded me of Game of Thrones. Why does the audience like so much like this backstabbing?
I think that having an insight into the way that politics work is fascinating. It really interests me. I think it interests everybody because I think politics can seem to have a lack of humanity. So the idea of human beings going about these actions, we want to see what that is, what that's like, what pushes someone to be so relentless in their pursuit of power, and where that comes from. Does it come from a deep fear within that person? Does it come from a feeling of inadequacy? Or is it actually a rage that pours out of them? And adding that element into a Star Wars movie, I think is brilliant.
How is it to be like a one-of-a-kind stormtrooper?
It's the idea of a woman being in a position of power in an environment that, in the military, which in this world has been, and in our world, male-dominated. I just love the idea of there being a female stormtrooper because it wasn't about female sexuality. As a concept, I think Captain Phasma is incredibly rich. It's not about how attractive she is. It's not about the shape of her body. This is a value system that's been part of our society for a long time, and I don't really think is a very valuable one. And that's what Captain Phasma challenges, and I'm really delighted to be a part of that.
All remaining systems will bow to the First Order, and will remember this as the last day of the Republic!
In the previous film, General Hux does this like amazing speech scene. Very Lenny Riefenstahlian. Do you have any reference from history?
Even in The Force Awakens, more than the obvious comparison of He Who Shall Not Be Named. There was an English fascist who was, I think, out of the 30s or 40s, who I looked at some of his speeches and stuff. But then by the time the second one rolls around, I felt like I knew him well enough not to have to look to other people, but just look to myself.
And in Snoke's case?
In Snoke, Snoke is, he uses a... He communicates through a hologram, so he is a bit like the Wizard of Oz. He's hiding behind a messaging system. He sort of has a brand, which is both a mystery and self-mythologizing a kind of a powerful presence in a totalitarian way. But actually, he is driven by fear. He's a leader that is driven by fear. There are world leaders that you could compare him to without being obvious.
Okay, so Andy, you're like maybe the master of motion capture. There's a lot of criticism about characters in CGI, also in the prequel. So from your point of view, what is like a good or bad character in CGI?
Good or bad, it's all down to the writing of the character, the performance, the trusting and having the great team to work with. But a good or bad performance really is it's about the acting. It's about committing to the role in a very real way and being directed in a very truthful and honest way. So really, the technology is irrelevant. It's acting is acting.